Today I'm going to be talking about cultural appropriation, specifically about cultural appropriation of Native Americans and how it's damaging to them as an ethnic group. Cultural appropriation is destructive not just to Native Americans, but to all ethnic groups because they're being objectified, devalued, hypersexualized, and subjected to stereotype threat. When people think of Native Americans, they automatically make associations to ethnic individuals wearing feathers on their heads, like the one in this picture. Society always perceives Native Americans with big headdresses and braided hair, which in reality, only a few tribes practice. This suggests that society constructs the many Native American tribes into one generalization. Stereotyping Native Americans not only misrepresents the variety of culture, but also discredits and ignores hundreds of other practices and traditions. Do you see a difference between this picture and the previous one? The previous picture shows an actual Native American, while this picture you're seeing right now is a random person wearing the Native American regalia. Why is this picture wrong? This picture justifies the hypersexualization, devaluing, and objectification of Native Americans. This also subjects them to stereotype threat, which is the situational predicament in which individuals are at risk of conforming negative stereotypes about their group. If random people depict Native Americans as promiscuous, they would experience stereotype threat by thinking that they should look like however other people depict them as, because that's what society expects from them. Stereotype threat occurs when these expectations from society that Native Americans are supposed to be physically appearing as someone that wears what this model is trying to wear or portray. People think this is a costume where it should not be. Society does not see the problem that if someone dresses up like the indigenous people, they're objectifying the culture by turning a culture into a costume. In fact, many people see the appropriation as appreciation for a culture, which I will talk about later in this video. This picture mocks the culture and gives people different sexual ideas of Native Americans due to the misrepresentation that this model is portraying. It also makes it as if ethnicity is something that can be objectified to an outfit. What I'm trying to say here is culture is not a costume. The difference between dressing up as a doctor or firefighter versus dressing up as a stereotypical Native American is that one is a society and one is an occupation. You apply to become a doctor or a firefighter, but you don't apply or audition to become a Native American. Where's the distinction between appropriation and appreciation? Borrowing aspects of a culture is okay if permission to do so is granted by a cultural group. However, oftentimes people just appropriate the culture as if they understand it completely or act like they belong to it, rather than just giving appreciation. It's kind of difficult to draw a line between appreciating and appropriating. Perhaps a good distinction is to appreciate cultures by giving compliments and/or using ethnic materials in different ways if it were done by an indigenous individual or indigenous group, not by claiming it as if it were owned and performed by a non-indigenous person, or in other words, by not appropriating it. If you like the culture, then it's fine. Learn about it and do your own research and make sure it's accurate. By doing so, you're appreciating it. You don't have to try to be ethnic looking, or in this case, you don't have to try to become one of the Native Americans, because that'll just never happen. Many activists argue that this is one of the unconscious racism. Many people do not know about cultural appropriation and its ramifications. It's often ignored because many people do not do their research. This video is a message for everyone to be aware of things like this because it's really offensive to different societies. So the best advice that I can give you is to educate yourself and to be conscious that what you're wearing is a little more than a thread and a pattern to other people.